This is becoming absolutely insane. We have to be very realistic about what the future entails, especially before the election. For the folks that don't know, my name is Garrett Goodwin. I'm the founder of Overcome Money. We do money simplification, and we also do a range of services. And we see clients quite often that are actually worried. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is that are we reaching a money apocalypse right now? I mean, it is going without saying anything extra that what's happening in the United States is very apparent when it comes to finances. There are words being thrown around like inflation and taxation, but right before the election, what's going to happen is that a lot of people are going to be misinformed about what's going to take place after the election. So I don't care what side of the fence you actually stand on. It could be the left or the right or anything in between. Just know that your money is going to be affected because this election, the results are going to be crazy. So what we're going to be talking about is a couple of warnings. I'm going to issue about 3 warnings and then 5 tips of what you can do to actually prepare. I'm telling you, this stuff is getting crazy. It's getting crazy out there. And we need to do our best to not just get swept away by the sensationalism or the Chicken Little effect. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. So what do we see? This is reported by Forbes. Historical evidence shows that the markets often show more volatility in the months before an election, since uncertainty about the policies of the upcoming administration generate a cautious investing environment. Now, what does that mean? They're saying by the data, it shows historically that people end up feeling the effects before the election actually takes place. And so what are we going to consider doing this? One, even though the data actually exists, I think it's fair to say in America that we're running into the problem now. And part of it is that a lot of folks have lost track how they want to manage their finances, and they're being swept away by sensationalism surrounding finances. A lot of people are doing risky stuff. We see it with clients all the time. A lot of it has to do with not knowing your numbers. With that being reported, this is what Forbes also reported as well too. There's going to be sector-specific volatility and stability. What does that mean? That means that there are certain industries that are going to be affected before the election and then dramatically after the election. So we're going to go through these industries. One of the industries is healthcare. All right, that's obvious. And the reason why healthcare is that this industry sometimes shows great volatility during elections. I mean, that goes without saying. Healthcare is extremely important to everybody that's employed, to folks who are retired. The thing is that it's extremely important to all Americans. So if they're saying that healthcare is going to be affected, I don't know what to tell you. That's something that we actually live by. Energy. Policies on fossil fuels and renewable energy, the sector is quite susceptible to election results. That goes without saying. I mean, folks, we pay our electric bills, we pay our utilities, and energy is very important to our productive lives in America. But when they're saying that that's going to be affected, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen to your utility bills. Technology. Technology is one of the industries that considerably stayed stable. Not quite sure why or what kind of things they have going on for all the services that they provide. This necessarily doesn't affect the American people, your bottom dollar as a person walking around free roaming in America, but just know that they're reporting that it's steady, okay? And the last one that gets hit the hardest is the financial services or financial industry. The financial crisis caused initial declines in financial equities following the 2008 election, but as the new government carried stabilization policies, they eventually rebounded. Let's pause for a moment and think about what that actually means. It means that they know what's going to happen during this election, and then it'll eventually rebound. There is no estimate of when that's actually going to occur, and there is no estimate for when you are going to rebound. That is for businesses, that is for people, that is for every American. If you want to be one of those folks that want to eventually sit around and rebound, I'm not quite sure after this election specifically what that may entail. So I'm going to start off by giving you 3 warnings for 3 different types of people. And these people are employees, retirees, and business owners. For the employees, you need to have a second source of income because your raise won't be enough. If your job is promising you a raise or they're lagging behind and giving you a raise, that raise isn't going to be enough to curb some of what's going to be happening post-election. Ask if there's a job out of scope that you can do and get compensation for. As crazy as that actually may sound, it works in some cases. So for example, let's say you work a construction job and maybe you're good at admin. Maybe you have a degree in some type of administrative work, but you're doing construction work. Maybe you could offer help in that manner to where they can compensate you instead of just doing it as a position. Maybe there's something that you can catch up on. That doesn't apply for everybody in every case, but it's worth a shot. Just think about it. Now, there's a warning to retirees. Don't write it out and don't make assumptions that everything is just going to eventually be okay. And the reason why this is extremely important for retirees is because either you're anticipating that you're going to live a certain life, or you're already living a certain life and thinking things are going to be okay. And the thing is that we can honestly level here and say, hey, things aren't the same. You have the introductions of new technology, you have political parties that are tearing each other apart, and inflation is at levels that we've never seen before. Oftentimes when clients come in, we are very aware of the fact, especially when it comes to retirement, that not everybody is very strategic about how they want to plan out their retirement or feel very safe doing it. So what oftentimes happens is that out of fear, they ride out their situation. I've had clients come in and tell me about their clients and coworkers that are getting ready to retire. Something ends up happening to them before they even get a chance to retire. It could be a health situation, it could be joint pains. A lot of these folks that are about to retire or in retirement are living with pain that they're not letting others know. So I'm saying, at least for the retiree warning, don't wait it out. Our company does work specifically with people who are retiring. We work with everybody in terms of finances, but just be very clear about what you're trying to do and what you intend to do. Because if you think that things are going to be how they were in the past, you're in for a rude awakening. Now, business owners, we work with business owners as well too. And one of the things that they're having a hard time doing is pivoting, meaning that they cannot get good traction in terms of inflation, in terms of consumer sentiment. How do they sell their thing without going too high, going too low, whatever the case may be? So just a quick warning for businesses, you have to have a little bit of leeway in your brand. And what that means is that don't spend money on useless displays, aesthetics, and amenities. If you have a customer and clientele that is very aware of your brand and what you deliver on, they're going to come. So repurpose that money into customer engagement and paying your employees a little bit more, because everybody's feeling the heat. And if you have good folks that work with you, honestly, they can kick it up a notch. There are ways that you can provide incentives, all types of things to increase production, retain your talent, and then also stop wasting money thinking that everybody needs to see you a certain way. All these things are seemingly horrible, but let me tell you, there are 5 things that we can actually do to prep. And these are things that we often tell people when they come in and they consult with us. Number one thing is that you need to clean up your account mess. And what it is that we have seen way too many clients that have one account. The reason why it's not okay, because it's not easy for you to trace down exactly where the leaks are going out of your money, like that you're spending. You're swiping cards, you're reverting to credit cards, you're doing a lot of other things, because that one account is like one house that has messy rooms everywhere you go. And I'm not quite sure how people are able to do it, but I think times have changed, especially since the introduction of buy now, pay later tactics that are being used by companies when you go to check out, purchasing things online. I mean, you name it, a lot of things have actually changed. New subscription services, so things are coming out at a reoccurring pace. Just know that it's too easy for things to get out of control when you have one account, especially because cyber attacks, cyber security, we're in a bad place right now where there are bad actors out there, and they could cripple you using that one account because they know that's where the money's coming in. The next thing that you can do to start preparing is start to curb your arguments that you have with family members, significant others, and all of that. Because of inflation, because things have changed in America, we're looking for ways to cut down on spending and do things to keep the lights on and take care of ourselves and our people. But being too frugal or miscommunicating, not speaking the same language in terms of money at home, is going to cause arguments. And let me tell you, if you're having arguments about who is going to be voted, wait until after who is voted during this election. And more arguments are going to consume your life because of money. that is going to be a major contributing factor. And that's one of the things that you have to do. So part of it is that go out and discuss collaborating, or at least consolidating efforts. There's a lot of split homes when it comes to money. Oftentimes when we have clients come in, I often ask them, me personally, do you guys plan on building an estate or a life together? And this isn't just for couples. This is for people who are just living together or anything like that. I think we need to go back to the basics and understand just what you see maybe globally in other cultures outside of America, is that people come together and they actually consolidate all of their finances to tackle inflation, to tackle financial adversity head on. Just let me know below in the comments what you and your family are actually doing to consolidate. But be very aware that the arguments are only going to get worse if you don't decide to start talking about it before the election results. Oh man, it gets crazy out there. So number 4, know your button down number. So most folks don't know exactly what they're doing in terms of their finances. And oftentimes they can't pinpoint exactly what's going out on a monthly basis. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay to a certain extent, because you don't know your rainy day number and you don't know your button down number. Now, what your button down number is that if you have expenses, and let's say for the sake of simplicity that it's $1,000 a month that you just pay all your bills. But in this $1,000, you know you can curb it down a little bit, kind of like a flip of a switch, to say, I can go ahead and this number is something I can completely survive off of. And maybe that number is like $800 afterwards. That's your button down number. And it needs to be something that you know is clearly defined. And when it seems like things aren't going your way, you, the family, whether you're single, solo, dolo, married, whatever the case may be, entwined with anybody, everybody should at least know what their button down number is. Completely different from your rainy day number. Your rainy day number is something that defines exactly when crap hits the fan and I can no longer get the income coming in. I know what I need to do. Let's get to number 5. And number 5 is beware of Chicken Little money gurus. And let me tell you, I see it all the time. Oftentimes, there are people out there sensationalizing, and it's happening every single day, sensationalizing 2 different things from 2 different sides of the spectrum. Either the sky is falling, or they can tell you how to be a millionaire. And then there are hardworking people in between, torn between the 2 places, and the nonsense needs to stop. You will not be torn between the 2 places. I don't care how much money you actually have. You wouldn't be torn if you actually knew your strategy, if you actually knew your numbers. And that's not a simple thing to do. And that's how come we founded what we do in terms of our company. We actually help with at least simplifying and strategizing with you. Now, just know that things are going to get crazy. We are in the middle of the apocalypse, the financial and money apocalypse actually happening. If we're having our Armageddon moment and we can see that meteor in the sky and it's coming, you know, you don't want to close your eyes and don't want to fall asleep on this one. And if you get it, you get it. You don't, you don't. So if you tune in next time, just realize that we're going to get better at watching what the boots on ground is. If you're one of those people that don't want to just sit and make assumptions or wait and you want to take action, just click the link below to visit our website, overcomemoney.com. Let's get a discussion going. Dialogue is very important when it comes to your money and your finances, and we don't have to wait until the meteor hits to know that we made a mistake.